USC Colorado Buffalo game. I'm gonna give you my first initial thoughts of what's happening. Then I'm gonna give you the pregame all the way 1 through 4. You know how we get down. So let's just start with the game ended within one score. But if you watch the game, you understand the game wasn't that close. If I was a USC fan, I would really be worried about my defense. Now, if Colorado made one decision here or there, the game is completely different. USC has an all-world quarterback, but the defense still gave up 30 to 40 points. All right, how will that fare down the line is the question. All right, but let's get to Colorado Buffaloes. This is big time. All right, this is the big time. You played Oregon, now you played USC. You ran the football, you were way more balanced, you limited turnovers, but again, you all won the toss and deferred against a high-scoring team. Missed the field goal, got a pump block, did not start fast, got into a shootout with the best quarterback in the nation, and defensively got to get a lot better. With that being said, the great news is you went against the first pick in the NFL draft and competed your butts off. This is not a panic time. You're 3-2. And a bit of a break in the schedule coming up. Arizona State and Stanford are very respectable programs, but they're not high octane like the other people that can score every drive like USC and Oregon. I think the Buffaloes will be favored in both games with Shiloh and Travis Hunter coming back. Let me just start. Omarion Miller exploded, and honestly, all the receivers did worlds better than last week. Any wide receiver for the Buffs are capable of having a big week. Miller and Horn had great games. Let's break it down. Miller had 7 catches, 196 yards. Oh my gosh, and a touchdown. Jimmy Horn was more the normal game where he had 7 receptions, 84 yards, but he had 2 key touchdowns. Despite being pedestrian in the first quarter, Shedeur ended 30 for 45, 371 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. But more importantly, he ran. He had 14 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown. On the flip, I told y'all Caleb was going to be super frustrating. He went all world, like just wow. 30 for 40, 403 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That was a great pick by my boy Cam Ryan. My boy, he is adding up them stats, getting interceptions week in, week out. Catching Caleb's first interception of the season, the NFL scouts saw you before the world, so bro, you're really doing well. I think we are really close to seeing Cormani. I really do get more regular playing time. His pass breakup in the end zone was a flash of what he can be. I understand the power dynamic between him and an old school coaching staff, so I hope that can get worked out, especially easing Travis back into the fold. Even though he plays a lot, I don't expect him to have that many snaps coming back. I think Shedeur Sanders is now a dark horse. He's no longer a Heisman favorite, but he has time to get back into the race, all right? The pregame, to me, was a whole lot more relaxed. I did not see LeBron in them. Paul Pierce and KG showed up. My boys Shiloh and Travis made an appearance on the sidelines. But all right, let's get down to the game. So, again, you got to listen to, for me, they followed some of the game plan I did in my previous video, but the main thing is, if you're going against high-octane offense and you win the toss, take the ball. It's not my decision, to make, but dog. It was too easy of a start for USC. Shiloh, again, did not play. His replacement, especially starting the game, looked lost for the first drive. He's a transfer from Southern Utah. The USC scored with 12 minutes, 33 seconds left in the first quarter. I mean, it was just too easy. Now, on the flip side, Colorado gets the ball, 2 quick throws, 1 screen, 3 and out. There was no commitment to the run on their first drive, punt. Again, that was the worst case scenario to start. The defense is automatically back on the field, and they give you a snapshot of how it started. Caleb Williams went 4 for 4 for 51 yards. Shedeur went 3 for 3 for 0 yards. Dog, what? So the second drive for USC, the DBs looked like they were in for a long day. That's just what it was for Colorado. They kind of knew that. Caleb barely missed on a deep throw for that second drive. They got to thank their lucky stars for that 3rd and 10 high snap fumble, but a stop is a stop. They punted the ball, and thank you to the Colorado Buffaloes. The time of possession was way better on the second drive. They finally got some first downs. Shedeur used his legs to run, kind of like what I was talking to you about earlier. The defense had time to settle and adjust, all right? I was thinking, man, where's Dylan Edwards? And there he was. He had a fantastic game as well. And finally the Buffs were running the ball. They were driving the ball. They didn't score a TD and they missed the field goal, but at least they took minutes off the clock. USC got the ball with 3 minutes and 18 seconds left in the first quarter. Jace Phillips should have made that kick, but kickers missed. The important thing was the time of possession and DBs getting their mind right. Now imagine if they would have started the game with that long drive. I think that would have shaved some points off at the end. Again, one decision here or there, instead of it being 48 points, they could have had it at 45 or even 40. That it could have been at the end, it could have made a difference. Now, remember, I was telling you, Caleb Williams was going to be frustrating throughout the whole game. He threw 6 touchdowns. He held the ball for 10 seconds with no rush and just waited until somebody got open for a second touchdown. Running to his left and on a rope, boom, squared his shoulders. The receiver, number 15, only had to make Trevor Woods miss. You could see in Trevor's body language he wasn't going to make the play. He wasn't going to make the tackle. Touchdown, 14-0. USC. All you can say is damn. And, in these situations, Trevor, you make me sad sometimes, man, because I was like, there's no way he's making that tackle. But at this point, the Buffaloes knew they needed to score. But unfortunately, the next drive, Shedeur throws his first true interception. Now, it was his second interception of the year, but let me break it down. Shedeur threw it late, one-on-one with Xavier Weaver. It was not a 50-50 ball. See, one of the knocks on Shedeur, and matter of fact, Caleb Williams too, he holds the ball way too long. He threw it to the outside. Weaver broke the route to the inside because the ball took so long to come out. As a receiver, he cut in thinking Shedeur was about to scramble, and they're doing a scramble drill. Shedeur threw the original route, and USC corner was a willing and thankful recipient. So, into the first quarter, thankfully, it was not 21-0, it was 14-0, but USC was driving. The game automatically seemed right there it was getting away. And we can officially say that, to me, in my eyes, Colorado's defense, when playing elite offenses, are ass. We got to admit that. It's okay. It is what it is. Now, we're going to go over the first quarter stats right here. I mean, it is what it is. You could tell from the yardage that Caleb Williams was having all kind of time to throw the ball, and they were moving. But again, at least the time of possession was a little bit better. Now, the first play of the second quarter, strike. Caleb Williams shows why he's the number 1 pick with that throw. The velocity, and anybody could have caught that. Anybody could have caught that. He put that in between the numbers, 21 zip USC. There was a big emphasis on first downs this game once all of that happened. I mean, from 21-0, they did not deviate from their game plan. They continued to control the clock, and that led to a lull where Shedeur was able to get it to Jimmy Horn over the top on a 30-yard touchdown. I mean, finally the Buffs got on the board. It was 21-7. The USC safety started to play up. The Dylan Edwards draw really set that play up in order to get that touchdown. Now, something from Caleb, though. Caleb is a progression monster. I know he's listed as maybe 6'2", I believe, but he looks closer to 6 feet. But with that progression, it allowed a big sack from Omarion Cooper. Quarterbacks have to be aware of the quarterback blitz from the short side of the field. It's hard to cover in protection because his progression on that play was from left to right. He got clocked. Great call from defensive coordinator Charles Kelly. That's knowing down a distance and knowing how to take advantage of the short field. The only downside I can say when you have a clean shot like that is you got to think about the ball. But I know how great it is. Like, as a defensive player, I know how great it feels to clock a guy that has no clue it's coming. I've done it before, but it could have easily took that ball away from Caleb because he didn't see him coming. And why would you do that? Because the next drive, when they got out of that, it was 3 and out, a block punt, shit. Then Caleb, a 25-yard strike, 27-7, shit. At least the Colorado Buffaloes blocked the PAT, but that's just showing you a snapshot. If Cooper would have took the ball away from Caleb in that situation, that they may have been able to avoid that 3 and out because it was on the other side of the field. It was bad field position, and then they got the punt blocked. Now, that ended up biting them in the backside a little bit later on with the cornerback blitz. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but I just could not let this go on without thinking, does Lincoln Riley have to coach on offense? I mean, seriously, with the number 1 pick, what can you really tell him? The play does not really matter as long as he is holding the ball. He has protection and the play really doesn't matter. He's going to throw to those who are open. Shedeur has the same ability, has the same, I guess, blessing and curse, but he doesn't have the same offensive line as USC. Now, watching Caleb up close when he played Tulane a few months ago, he really didn't need that much coaching, like play to play. For on the other side, Colorado had just a small margin of error, but I mean, it shows up later on. Now, the problem with the cornerback blitz, like I just told you all, from the short side of the field on great players, you cannot do the same thing, especially in the same quarter. Caleb was aware that it could be coming again. So as soon as they got to a particular side of the field, instead of him going from that progression, left to right or right to left, as soon as the ball snapped, he's looking at that cornerback coming, and he saw it, throws to Jerry Rice's son off the cornerback blitz. He makes Trevor Woods miss, touchdown again, 34-7. And at that point, I mean, your odds of winning the game are shit. Absolute shit. That cannot be an automatic call. Caleb used that against them. You can't just say, oh, short side of the field, cornerback blitz again. He knew it was coming and made them pay. The Buffs scored, but at this point in the game, it's effectively over. It was 13-14 at half. Again, USC is a consistent scoring team. You look at the box score, they scored 14 points in the first quarter, 20 points in the second quarter, 14 points in the third quarter, and he took the fourth quarter off. 48 points in total. You can't do that. Once they scored 14 points in the third quarter, it became a friendly. It was just a friendly, type of game. You knew the game was over. It was 48-27 at the end of the third. And I got to give Shedeur and the offense credit. I got to give Shedeur and the offense credit because they did not quit. They went out and still scored 14 in the fourth quarter to get within one score. But I think this game was a reminder of what it's going to take. You got to start fast, from the game plan to coaching decisions to not starting slow to taking away possessions and making the other team pay when you do that. To Shedeur throwing nearly 400 yards and rushing for another nearly 100 yards. I'm telling y'all right now, this is a bowl team. Colorado's a bowl team. They can win 5 more games. Watching Utah the other night, they're beatable because they lost to Oregon State. It might be 6 wins. They're really good. They're not a dominant team yet, but I can see it coming. They must rebound against Arizona State on the road. Now, Arizona State is not Oregon, but they can move the ball. Plus, their first-year head coach, Kenny Dillingham, was Oregon's offensive coordinator last year. So I expect many of the same things from Arizona State that Oregon did to the Buffaloes. They're going to try it. Do they have the personnel to do it? I doubt it, but they may try it. Plus, Coach Dillingham is an Arizona State alum, so he wants this game. He has an attitude about himself, too. He's like a prickly little guy and would love nothing more than to hand the Buffs another loss. So it's going to be up to the Colorado Buffaloes. They cannot, it is a must that they take advantage of these non-high profile games when they get a chance. They're going to Arizona State on the road, beautiful campus. If you get a chance to go out there, I'll actually love it. But they got to win that game. They got to get back on the winning track to go 4-2, be favored going to Stanford, or Stanford's going to Folsom, win that game, and then hopefully they're off and running. They still got Oregon State on the schedule. They still got Washington State on their schedule. So, and you got Utah on your schedule. Outside of those games, you got to make sure you get the next 2 to make sure you get to where you need to go. Anyway, I'll be previewing the Arizona State game soon, but I just want to drop this off to y'all. Hey, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing our content, and much love. Heritage Sports.